Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the VSO Gun Channel. Thank you for tuning in. And you guys saw the title. You guys saw the thumbnail. You know what we're going to be discussing here today. And I will tell you that we're not going to have any graphic images or anything here today. So you can feel free to, keep this playing in an open forum or, whatever. It's I think that we've all seen enough of the horrific images that we don't need to recycle those. They are consistently and forever burned into my memory. So I know that many of you are the same. So we don't need to go there today. We will be able to accomplish our mission here today without any graphic images. There will be some figures, but they won't be of the expressed incident, so to speak. But what I would lead off with here today is there is a consistent call from those who are absolutely complicit in generating the atmosphere that we find ourselves in here today to lower the temperature, even though they are the ones who have consistently ratcheted up the tempo of increasing that temperature for years. And I don't think that the temperature does need to come down. I don't think that the temperature should come down until every single person that is implicated in this incident is brought to justice under the law. Do not mistake me. I'm not calling for any kind of return violence. That would be absolutely antithetical to what Charlie stood for. But what I am espousing is that the supporting organizations that created this atmosphere and continue to perpetuate it to this day should be designated terrorist organizations, and they should be dismantled by law, under the force of law if necessary. And what I mean by that, to be absolutely specific, is that not only should they be designated terrorist organizations, but anybody who provided any kind of financial support should be audited. Absolutely dismantle it down to the ground. However, I have found one facet of this justified outrage that everyone is experiencing, and I hope that it is harnessed in an appropriate way. I have found one facet of this outrage that I do believe that we need to bring the temperature down a little bit on, and that is the premise that a lot of folks have brought up that potentially Charlie was wearing body armor, and that body armor may have in somehow, manner, shape, or form resulted in the fatal injury that he sustained. And I don't think that that is fair. And being that I have tested lots of body armor over the course of my career, I would like to weigh in on that and really bring that into the reality space, because I don't think that the dragging any kind of armor manufacturer is a fair assessment. So let's just go ahead and accept the premise out the gate. Armor was worn, and the bullet comes in, strikes near the top third of the armor plate, and it deflects up and causes a serious injury to the neck. This is a known phenomenon. It happens with both metallic armor, ceramic armor, to a lesser degree with the high density polyethylene plates, but they also have caliber rating restrictions where they don't go up quite as high, and sometimes there's ceramic or metal integrated with those products. And I've also seen this kind of thing happen with soft armor in very strange situations where the bullet comes in at weird angles and stuff like that, where the armor will partially capture the round and then it'll traverse part of the layering of the armor and then squirt out somewhere else. Okay. Let's accept that this known phenomenon is what occurred. Remember that armor is there to potentially provide you with a second chance. It is not a guaranteed outcome. It is a piece of personal protective equipment that you hope works and you hope you never have to use. We're already in really, really shitty territory if our body armor is being used to defeat a bullet. But remember, the alternative to that is that you don't wear the armor. In which case, in every scenario where the bullet deflects off of a plate and ends up in your neck, or fragments of it end up in your neck, the alternative is that you took the 30-06 round to the chest. The United States Army has shot thousands and thousands of people in the chest with 30-06. The data is pretty clear. The outcomes from that are not great. If that is what occurred, is that bad? Yes, it is. Is it mitigatable? Remember that evil exists, folks. And that's really the whole reason that we're talking about this. Evil. Normally about this time, I would burn in a sponsor slot. But this kind of topic is not something that I feel like I should financially benefit from, and I would feel gross about that. However, on the flip side, these kind of horrific public injuries have a way of bringing to the forefront of people's minds that humans are fragile. And I feel like I have a duty to remind you that you should have emergency medical equipment in your cars, in your house, on your person, on a day in, day out basis. And that stuff is expensive. So even though it makes me feel gross, we have a discount code at Medical Gear Outfitters where you can obtain these at a reduced rate, get yourself squared away. And even though I feel gross about that, if that saves one life or stabilizes one serious injury even 10 years from now, then I did the right thing. And if you guys want to drag me for that in the comment section, go for it, okay? But my conviction today tells me that when people are looking for this sort of thing, they should be reminded that resources like this exist. I've said my piece. Was Charlie Kirk wearing body armor during this political assassination? As of the filming of this video, there is no definitive answer to that. There is no direct statement from the Kirk camp or any authorities or anything like that that would seem to suggest that he was wearing body armor. However, there is supporting evidence both for and against this being the state of affairs. I will briefly cover those supporting pieces of evidence. There is an image of Charlie Kirk sitting under the tent in question where you can clearly see a nipple poking out from underneath of his athletic shirt. This would be inconsistent with him wearing body armor of any kind. On the other side of the persuasion, there are certain images that seem to display some kind of anatomic anomaly that would be inconsistent with human anatomy and would be consistent with him wearing body armor. Kirk was known to wear body armor during these kind of rallies, and that his wife insisted that he wear those sort of things. So if we run through those scenarios there, we do not know when any of these images were taken in the timeline of events. Did he start out with the body armor on and then take it off? Did he start out without body armor on and then put it on? We don't know when those images were taken and where they appear in the timeline. We do not have the raw footage. All we have are the sensationalized snippets. And I got to be honest, guys, gals, there's a lot of imagery out there that people are using to express opinions, and these types of video do not rise to the level of the quality of cameras that we would use for any kind of ballistic analysis. That said, it's what we have. My professional opinion is that I do not believe that he was wearing body armor. There are some strange reactions as far as the physics is concerned when it comes to this incident, but my initial gut reaction to seeing those images, I thought that he was wearing some kind of ballistic armor. I now do not believe that is the case, having consumed far too much imagery related to this incident. We've all seen the horrific images of the graphic violence, the blood pouring out of Charlie's neck, and it should piss you off. It should absolutely piss you off. But I'm here to tell you today that he was absolutely not directly shot in the neck with a 30-06. This is one of the first times I can ever recall the news media correctly reporting that it was a high-powered rifle that was used. A 30-06 could be classified as a high-powered rifle. It would be considered a full-powered rifle cartridge. Typically, when we're talking about rounds, we have a couple different classifications, not to get super in the weeds, but When we're talking about like 5.56, 7.62 by 39, 300 blackout and stuff like that, those are like AR-15 calibers. Those are intermediate rifle cartridges. A 30-06 or like a 308 or something like that, that is a full-powered rifle cartridge, and you could conceivably call that a high-powered rifle cartridge. There is no way that 30-06 hit him directly in the neck and did not disintegrate the majority of that side of his neck. It doesn't work that way. There is a huge amount of energy that is dumped. And if you look at the physics, and again, we're not going to show you any of the imagery here today, but if you look at the physics of his chest and all that sort of stuff, I believe, and if you look far too closely at the images, that there is something here on his shirt that seems to bleed simultaneously. And I believe that the round actually struck him in the chest, and for it to do all of the cavitation effects, there was initially some conjecture that it might have come from the side. If you look at the roof where the prints were, you can see that it's basically a direct shot. At the risk of inducing further conspiracy theory, my phone, not yours, because that's what happens when there's a lack of transparency like what we see in this situation here. People will fill in the details themselves. Our current understanding of how this all happened is incomplete. There's more information out there to explain this, but we currently do not have it. I don't know what it is, but something's screwy. There can be anomalies that happen, especially like I said earlier, when we're talking about speeds like this. Weird stuff can happen. The armor is there as a potential second chance. The fault of this is on the person who pulled the trigger, the people that supported him to get to that position, and the people that created the social environment that led to a political assassination by a terrorist organization. And we need to not miss that in this. And we should stop trying to drag armor manufacturers that are out there trying to provide a safety, a piece of personal protective equipment that does not have a guaranteed outcome. Again, if you believe he was wearing body armor. And that's the message that I would disseminate to you today. Be better, folks. Demand action on this from your elected officials, from your leadership in the executive branch. There are things that they can do without infringing on the rights of American citizens that should happen, and it is way, way overdue.